Today we will break down the planche. We will discuss all the different exercises that you can do in your routine, you can add to your routine to keep making progress in the planche. All the full details will be in the article. Full article is on the Bodyweight Tribe membership site. Link is in the description below. There's more information than just here in this video, so please check it out. And if you're not subscribed yet to the Bodyweight Tribe, please do so. Link is on the website. You will get new calisthenics programs each and every month, tutorials, videos, articles, and really worth it. So to break down the planche, we really have to understand the biomechanics. What muscle groups are relevant to specific ranges of motion. We have to understand the movement in order to match exercises that target those muscle groups and solve the problem. Okay? And a lot of the video and information in this video here was inspired by Ben Chayun. I sat down with Ben. He's a friend of mine. He's a genius in biomechanics, and he helped me understand some of that. And I further gave it my own twist using my experience with the planche. And the planche, when you're training every exercise, you are really as strong as your weakest link. I really believe in this phrase. You have some muscle groups which are strong, they get stimulated, but some maybe smaller muscle group, which further we will acknowledge as weaknesses of ours, do not get fully stimulated, they not get fully trained, therefore they are necessary in the planche, but they stall all progress, because if we are only as strong as our weakest link and we have a weakness and it is not fully trained, the planche will always be the planche, the limit of our planche strength would be to the extent that this weakness is able to produce force. And we will match exercises that target specific different muscle group in different ranges of motion to work those weaknesses, and you will see what are your weaknesses individually, and that will be the ideal really. And so they get fully stimulated, so you can keep pushing everything in the planche up. So really planche, those who are strong in the planche have great deltoid strength. They have great overhead strength, either full range of motion handstand push-up or full range of motion barbell overhead press, dumbbell overhead press. Just overhead pressing strength, which is really deltoids mostly. Floor handstand push-up, the partial range of motion, that's mostly triceps, external rotators as well, so it's really insignificant as a measurement of deltoid strength. Use the full range of motion. A good mark to have when training the planche is to either have full 1 times body weight barbell overhead press. If you weigh 70 kilogram, 70 kilogram is on the bar and you are able to press it once. Or 5 full range of motion handstand push-ups. So you can do that on small parallel bars. Those are this height, so you can get the full range of motion to the clavicle. And we're doing 5s and not single, because when performing bodyweight exercises, we do not fully lift our whole body. We don't have to lift the arm really. So 5 reps. That's a good mark to aim for. If you don't have good deltoid strength, you will not see progress in the planche. You will get some neurological adaptation, you will get efficient at recruiting all the different muscle groups simultaneously. You will learn the technique, how to apply force, how to rotate, create torque. So you'll get better, but your ceiling is only as high if the potential for strength for each individual muscle group is very small. Okay, so you will be stuck forever on a tuck planche. Walking straight arm, bent arm splits in this case are very wise. You keep pushing the handstand push-up strength simultaneously to planche progress. Weak deltoids, no planche. If your deltoids are very strong and you are really weak in the planche, there's another missing link, key one. A key area that is between the deltoid and our palm, where we produce the force against the floor, This is the distal bicep strength. Usually people who really fail on the planche for lack of deltoid strength, they usually fall forward when they, in an attempt to perform the planche, they will fall forward. But they will have completely locked arms. Those who are weak in distal bicep strength will get into position, and as they get into position, they slightly break their elbow. Their deltoids are strong to hold that position isometrically, but only with not as much stress on the distal bicep tendon. They are not able to fully lock the elbows, and not locked elbows are not a planche, even slightest. So distal bicep strength, you can use Scott curls, which are preacher curls. You have the support against the elbow, and from full range of motion here, perform 5 repetitions with 20% of your body weight with a dumbbell. You can do that with a dumbbell. If you don't have that, you can perform Pelican curls, standing up with a decline at the beginning of the range of motion of about 45 degrees with the body. So when you go deeper into the Pelican curl, your body actually is even closer to the floor, performing one full repetition, one curl, full range of motion into that locked elbow and out of it, pulling back, and that will be sufficient for the planche. So you can use both of these markers to gauge your distal bicep strength. If both of them are very strong and you do not have yet a planche, that is only due to lack of neurological adaptation. You haven't yet trained the planche enough to really coordinate all the different muscle groups and the technique to really perform the exercise. We know a lot of strong people in the gym that have 1 times body weight overhead press, or the equivalent of that in other pressing movements, and they have strong biceps, but they do not have the planche. Obviously, they do not train the planche. There's a coordination that is revolved around training the planche that you have to perform in order to actually see the skill happening. But if you already have those two, the base is there. A practitioner that have both of these marks will see incremental but very consistent planche progress once he starts training it. And you can train those areas simultaneously to training the planche. You don't have to train train them and completely stop training the planche altogether. And you can keep making progress simultaneously. Obviously, if you're not even able to perform the tuck planche, then maybe you're just unprepared and you have other exercises that you need to devote your time to, like ring dips, which with the support position on top will somewhat strengthen your straight arm strength, and other exercises like so. Okay, so how do we target those problems? We have supplementary exercises and we have accessory. You have seen both words, but what is the exact difference? Supplementary exercises are exercises that are variations of the main original skill, the planche isometric hold, variation. Thus, they are similar in nature. They have all the components of the original skill, but in a slightly different variation, and we use them to really cause a different stimulus, to aggravate a different stimulus for the body, and to put a slight emphasis on a different area or muscle group within that whole pattern. Accessories do not have to really resemble the original exercise at all. The purpose of accessory is to hypertrophy, to strengthen muscle groups, not patterns, muscle groups. So I want to strengthen the delt, hypertrophy the delt, hypertrophy the biceps. Therefore, we really don't have to use any exercise that is mimicking in nature the planche necessarily. Thus, only training accessories will never result in having the original skill because they really lack crucial similarities, components that the planche do have. But in isolation, they can help. Supplementary work. We have 3 exercises. All of them are great to add to your routine after the main isometric holds, or you can rotate between the main isometric hold and different supplementary each and every week. Eventually you will see which of the exercises are more beneficial to you. Probably they are tackling your weaknesses, therefore they made you better, they made you stronger. So you don't have to really perform every one of them. That's not the idea behind the video. Pseudo planche push-up incorporate a bent arm part that is not in the original exercise, the original skill. Pseudo planche push-ups targets the chest and the triceps within the pattern more than other exercises. So if those are your weaknesses, pseudo planche push-ups are great for you. If you perform them on the rings, you will even target the chest more so, and they will even transfer better to ring planche isometric holds, which targets the chest more because the rings want to break out as you fall and you have to squeeze them in, which really puts more emphasis on the chest, as opposed to parallel bar or floor planche, where you mainly try to resist that motion, which is more dense. L, sit or support presses to planche. And this is a great exercise. It targets the deltoids specifically more so than the original skill or the pseudo planche push-up. You have bigger range of motion with the deltoid in a really specific range of motion useful to the planche, not the overhead one, mostly the one that is just shoulder height. So this is another great exercise, targets the deltoids more so. You can add that, you can rotate. Incline dumbbell planche press. So you sit on an incline. You can do that standing up, but it's even more specific to the original skill if you're on a 45-degree incline on a bench. You hold dumbbells and you press. Open kinetic chain exercises, external resistance, feel very different than the original bodyweight closed kinetic chain exercises because they really lack the demand of stabilizing muscles. Like in the planche, you use the lower back, spinal erectors, the glutes, the hamstrings, the gastrocnemius, your core, your abs, your quadriceps. Everything is holding very, very tight other than the prime movers, and you really don't feel that in the open kinetic chain dumbbell mimicking exercises. Therefore, there are more isolation, and in those exercises you are able to feel certain spots much more pronounced than if you were to perform a closed kinetic chain, which is not necessarily better, but if that solves a problem of yours, it potentially have a lot of benefits for you. This one targets the distal bicep strength really more than any other exercise here. You can really feel it from all the muscle groups that are involved. This one will get a lot of stimulus. You'll get a lot of stress. If there's stress, there are potential for strength. So, chest and triceps, deltoids, bicep tendon, bicep, distal bicep strength. Different areas that you can target. Accessories, those you will add after the main work if you're performing isometric planche hold, after the supplementary if you add or rotate at the end of the workout. So now we are trying really to isolate specific muscle groups. If you can make it more specific to the planche while still maintaining the goal of really the accessory exercise, that's better, but we don't really have to. The first one is narrow ring push-up. So that's an awesome exercise. Just chest, deltoids, triceps, really strengthening everything. You can rotate the rings out on the way up, which will give some stimulus to the bicep as well. Really working all the pushing exercises. I use this exercise specifically at the end of maybe every training, every planche workout that I had when I begin training the planche. 3 sets of 12, something like that. Keep that narrow so it will resemble your stance of the planche more so. Narrow handstand push-ups, again, narrow, that's shoulder width. If you're really doing handstand push-up wide grip, that's more triceps. External rotators, upper back, you get more of that motion and not that in the plane. I want to move the arm similar in the plane of motion that the planche is really targeting. So you have to do narrow handstand push-ups. Those are awesome. Full range of motion, you have to strengthen that part. And the equivalent in barbell or dumbbell, everything that is overhead press, if you're really just lacking deltoid strength, add more deltoid overhead pressing movements. You're really just lacking strength in the prime movers. And by strengthening the overhead press, serratus anterior, upper traps, they will get stimulated. You don't have to isolate the serratus anterior. That's a common misconception. You don't have to isolate the serratus anterior. You can check, you can already do hundreds of those repetitions, and if that was the limiting factor, you wouldn't be able to perform that motion to begin with. But you can, so it's not the weak link really. And add more of these. And those really more for the elbow flexors. The dumbbell squat curls is just like I said, as a marker for the distal bicep strength. You will have support here, making the lockout range of motion very hard. This part is very easy, but we want to target the biceps in that strength curve. That part of the strength curve should be the hardest if you want to see carryover to the planche. It's not just training the biceps in general. So you can do dumbbell squat curls and dumbbell Zottman curls. Those are the ones where you curl the way up, rotate and go down, and now you are walking more of brachioradialis and pronator teres, which are also neglected elbow flexors. And those people who use a lot of, like I do, shoulder external rotation in the planche, and you see the elbow pit coming very far forward, and when you do the isometric hold, that position stretches the pronator teres tremendously. From here to boom, that. It stretches us tremendously, so if the pronator teres and even the brachioradialis are not strong enough, you will have injuries around that area. So strengthening them with dumbbell Zottman curls is really crucial, especially, like I said, for those people with great shoulder external rotation in the planche. You see the elbow pits completely forward. Most people have some slight torque. I'm able to create more. For me, it's more important. That's why you always see me performing a lot of elbow flexor work and elbow extensor work. It's not just for hypertrophy. I also use that as a prehab, we can say so, preventing injury. So that's a planche breakdown, all the exercises that you can use. You really will be far ahead of the pack if you understand your weaknesses. And if you understand your weaknesses, you can know which exercises to use more so than others. And then once you use those exercises, you will see progress coming along soon. So try to solve your puzzle of the planche and make progress. And that's the video. And again, link is to the full article is below in the description. If you're not yet subscribed to the Bodyweight Tribe membership site, please do so. There are tons of new content each and every month. There's the community there, exercise tutorials, articles, calisthenic programs each and every month. Lots of cool stuff, weighted calisthenics, skill exercises, hypertrophy workouts, routines, lots of good stuff. Link will be in the website. Check it out. Thank you very much. That's the planche breakdown.